In 2019, NBC took a chance on one of the most inventive, outlandish, soon-to-be cult classics that ever hit the airways. In this week's episode, why Community is awesome and why you should watch it. To all the Community noobs out there, while I'll try to avoid the big spoilers, I will cover some of the content of the show throughout. So if you don't like to know anything about a show before you watch it, stop this video and go watch Community right now. Otherwise, if you want to hear about why Community is awesome, stick around. On April 1st, just in time for this worldwide pandemic, Community started streaming on Netflix. I can think of little better way to spend your time in quarantine than watching Community. I watched Community when it originally aired. It wasn't wildly popular at the time, and after watching the show for a bit, you can kind of understand why. It's unlike any sitcom I've ever seen. While creating a universe of sorts around Greendale Community College, in which characters portray specific stereotypes, episodes can seem somewhat disjointed from each other. Unlike a typical sitcom where the format, characters, writing, and style remain constant, and the characters develop throughout, in Community, the characters are the only constant. But even then, breaking from their stereotypes occurs so frequently it becomes a trope in and of itself. If a casual viewer were to jump in, say around Season 3, Episode 17, Basic Lupine Urology, they will be unexpectedly presented with an entire parody of Law & Order. From start to finish, graphics, cinematography, character tropes, music, you name it, but all in the Community universe.
I can't give an A+ to everyone whose yam falls off a counter.
Somebody did this to us.
I can help you with that. I watch crime shows when I'm bored. You boys canvass for witnesses, establish a time frame and motive, and bring me a suspect.
I'm sure most who jump in late might get lost and not get the joke. Should the viewer stick it out, they'd be presented with one of the most creative and ingenious sitcoms ever made. Here's why Community is so awesome. 1. The characters. 2. The out-of-the-box storytelling. 3. The exceptional use of pop culture tributes, homages, and parodies. And 4. The music. The characters! Jeff Winger, the 30-something self-important vain agnostic narcissist that, in breaking with the stereotype, consistently can't help but do what's best for his friends at every turn. Britta Perry, the mid-20s buzzkill atheist wannabe do-gooder who can never fully bring herself to realize her ambition. Annie Edison, the 18-year-old Jewish naive hot nerd who only sees the good in others and is constantly offended.
My face, because I can take it, unlike a certain someone else.
Shirley Bennett, the only slightly older than Jeff despite assumptions to the contrary, born-again evangelical, uber-sweet until you cross her type, mother of 2, whose voice fluctuates between obnoxiously precious to frighteningly...
What's another word that means happy threatening?
The word he's looking for is sassy.
You better pray he don't find it.
Abed Nadir.
This is starting to feel like a bottle episode. I hate bottle episodes. They're wall-to-wall facial expression and emotional nuance. I might as well sit in the corner with a bucket on my head.
The undiagnosable, Palestinian-Polish-American Muslim aspiring filmmaker who sees life through a lens, literally, equating everything he experiences to film and television. So much so that the entire Season 2 Christmas special is claymation, a projection of his delusion. Troy Barnes, the former jock-turned-dork, slightly more rational best friend of Abed, who isn't book-smart, but, like Abed, has a wild imagination.
Troy and Abed in the morning, and we're back. Look who's here, Jeff Winger.
Jeff, how do you stay so fit?
What's going on? Where are the cameras?
Oh, we're not filming this.
Now, who'd want to watch this?
Oh, guys, it's 6 a.m. Jeez.
Also a Jehovah's Witness. Inclusion. And Pierce Hawthorne, the inexplicably old, racist, sexist, misogynist cult member and son of a moist towelette fortune.
What are you doing?
Pierce! Let's discuss this creepiness.
Pardon you?
Are you unaware that Shirley finds your advances inappropriate?
What advances?
Out-of-the-box storytelling. I could go on forever about this, but I'll give you one example. Most sitcoms will prop up a love interest from the beginning, create a will they, won't they atmosphere, and then resolve the story by bringing them together in the end.
There's nothing to stop any one of us from looking at any of the others as a sexual prospect.
Not only does Dan Harmon, the show's creator, sidestep this ubiquitous trope, but he subverts it by creating so many unexpected dalliances that you never know who's going to end up with whom, if at all. Britta and Jeff, Jeff and Annie Annie and Troy, Troy and Britta. The romances tend to stay with the more traditionally available characters, but you never really know where things are going to end up. Abed summarizes it perfectly.
To be blunt, Jeff and Britta is no Ross and Rachel. Your sexual tension and lack of chemistry are putting us all on edge, which is why, ironically, and hear this on every level, you're keeping us from being friends.
Jeff and I do.
Pop culture tributes, parodies, and homages. The number of seemingly Abed-inspired parodies is endless, but here are a few great examples. Regional holiday music, a Glee parody.
We are Planet Christmas when we sing.
Me? But I'm supposed to be a mute tree.
It's an emergency. This'll help us get to regionals.
I knew it!
Everything.
Christmas time!
Basic rocket science, an Apollo 13 parody.
City College has a space simulator.
We know. Close the door.
As I was saying,
we'll be unveiling the City College
Cosmic Pioneer, their very own orbital launch simulator. What do you think happens to enrollment then? I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I love my campus.
Epidemiology, a zombie apocalypse parody.
And the uncontrollable urge to bite on infected flesh. I forgot one symptom. Slurred speed. You got bit!
It felt like maybe I was special.
G.I. Jeff, a G.I. Joe animated cartoon parody.
With pleasure.
What? Oh no, what are you doing? Are you crazy?
Yo, Joe!
Contemporary American Poultry, a mafia movie parody.
Then we're the ones with the chicken.
It's like a mafia movie. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be in a mafia movie. Cool.
That's exactly what it's like, Abed.
Back in those days, Jeff Winger was the guy that made things happen. He always knew what to say, and he always knew when to slap the table.
You want to be sheep? Keep flocking. You want to be wolves? Form a pack.
And one of my favorites, Modern Warfare, an over-the-top action-adventure parody. They even had Justin Lin direct it. I could go on and on. The way these writers have managed to weave together these unrelated film and television tropes is inspired. And when you know their MO, it's a fun game to try to dissect it. Another type of show that you'll see in Community are concept episodes. A perfect example is Remedial Chaos Theory. This episode plays with the concepts of multiple dimensions and diverging timelines. It's a running gag on the show, starting with this episode. The roll of the die leads to 7 possible timelines, the worst of which is the darkest timeline, and the inspiration for the title of this show. Music! I would be remiss not to mention the incredible music on this show. While there are other shows that stand out musically, you cannot overlook the unusually inventive and elaborate use of music in Community. For a sitcom, I can't imagine another show doing it better.
Give me some more time in a dream.
Deck every hall and wall you can see.
So in a nutshell, Community's awesome. If you have a Netflix account, I can't recommend Community enough. That does it for me. Be sure to click the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to see more from the Noicest Timeline or other content on this channel, be sure to click the subscribe button as well. Don't forget to ring the bell to receive notifications. Thanks for watching. And remember, together, we can make this life the Noicest Timeline.
Guys?
Oh, let's go! Move!